Hello, YouTubers. Ricardo and I are back again to continue our journey to build a decentralized social media platform that we call Taarafo. We took a little bit of time to kind of, there's a middle video between this session and the session that's right before this one, where I started talking about a little bit around being able to transcend, problem details mapped into data dictionary into the exception, and then take that data dictionary in the exception and transcend that into a localized exception that we call invalid post exception. I'm still a little bit on the fence in terms of, oh, should we call it invalid, invalid post external exception, or should we call it invalid external post exception? I have yet to still find a reason for me to distinguish between validation issues that are happening on the server, because we're already categorizing these as a dependency validation exception, and that's exactly what we're logging. So that should be more than enough for engineers to kind of know immediately what's actually happening. And joining me today, as usual, my dear friend Ricky with his amazing headset. Now both of us have the same headset. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
You know, Ricky, what do you think? Should we get started? Should we finish this? I think we have just one or two tests left. What do you think?
let's hit that home run.
All right, that's it. That's it. Let's do that. So, so I'm gonna switch over to my screen here, and here's what we have now, Ricardo. We have on the exceptions area, we have, basically we have the critical dependency validation exception, and the dependency validation exception remove if validation error occurs. So there's, if the post is not found, that's the 404, and that's completely handled a little bit differently because we basically map that to not found post exception. And then we have should throw dependency validation exception on remove if validation error occurs, and log it async. Okay. So what's the next step? The next step, and this is also something that's very, very new, that we're gonna do this time. It's a kind of new old, right? Because we're gonna, try to communicate maybe a different message this time and see how that works out. So do you remember the part where we went and said, what happens when you try to delete a post and that post is already being used by another person or program? So what exception did we throw back then?
I guess it would be the locked exception, right?
Locked, right?
Yeah.
And we communicated that locked exception with a special error message that
Mm?
reflected that. So just for the people that, weren't following us from the beginning, I have to do this, Ricardo, because I have to make sure, every video is idempotent,
Yeah.
self-sufficient. So it's a little bit like the Marvel movies. You can jump between one and the other, but so now you'll lose track if you try. But anyway, so here's Taarafo core, and in the remove area here, we went ahead, you and I. This is a great journey. Are you having fun? We're going all the way from the database all the way up, right?
Oh
you
yeah.
know and it just shows you how much actual enterprise level industrial engineering, it takes a lot of thought. It's not just,
Mhm.
oh, let me hit the database and delete a record. No, it's hit the database, let's delete a record, and let's account for every possibility of issues that may happen, so we ensure that we're communicating the right messages, instead of people like, imagine, have you ever ran into a situation, Ricardo, when someone is trying to do something on the system and all of the sudden said, exception occurred, and enable div environment to see the details of the exception. This is someone that have decided to cut a corner and didn't handle an exception in a way that is useful to the end user. Let's not do
Mhm.
that. Let's not do that. So here's this guy basically saying post dependency validation exception, and we're getting a locked post exception, and we're communicating this as locked, right? So this locked guy, I don't know if I customized that or not. Is this coming from, yeah, this is coming from Restful Sense. So
Yep.
these are all the possible different, oh my Lord, I haven't seen them all of them at once like that once, and we probably need documentation. That would be a code rub to add the documentation on each and every one of them, because the code is not always visible. Or actually it is, never mind. I think we'll be fine. Okay, so here's what we're gonna need to do. We need to kind of handle that on the client side, right? So when the client gets this issue, we need to go and say, sorry, this is locked post exception, please try again later. right? So let's do the same thing, except that we're not generating it, we're just handling and moving it forward. Just remember at all times, the idea here is that the client, whether it's talking directly to the database or talking to an API, an external resource that's talking to the database, there will be no difference. At the view service layer, there will be no difference. You don't know, where is this coming from? It could be anything. That's the plug and play kind of capability in this system. So let's take care of that today. What do you think about that? I haven't done that before, by the way. Today I'm gonna have to do that with you and put that out there. I mean, I haven't done that publicly before, so let me do that, with you, and let's see and let's see how far this can go. And the test is gonna be really easy. It's not gonna be something that is too terrible. We're just gonna go ahead real quick here and let me share my Taarafo portal. There you go. And let's do this. So fact, here it is. Public async task. We do these. Remember, we don't do this through a dependency exception theory data because we handle those a lot differently than the others. So, okay, should throw dependency validation exception on remove if post is locked, right? And log it async. Just like that. Given when then. Just as quickly as that. And then here is your var HTTP, right?
Message.
A response message, right?
Yeah.
Response message. So new HTTP response message, and this guy doesn't want anything, but we also want a some message in here. So get random message. There it is. And then I'm gonna go down here and say var HTTP response locked, right?
Mhm.
Exception.
Exception.
HTTP response locked. Here you go. How beautiful is that? And then here is your HTTP response message, and here is your it takes
So,
two. Yeah, this guy takes two overload, and then there's a message, right? Some message.
yeah.
Okay, so I have this guy, and now let's make this a little bit prettier. Okay, so I have this guy. Now I can go here and say I want to localize this guy. So var locked post exception. So we're bringing it back from we're truly all localizing it. So locked
Mhm.
post exception. There it is. And we don't have that, I don't think. So let's go and create that guy real quick. Here is web models post exception, and let's see, locked post exception. This guy inherits from exception. Here we go. See Tor. We're taking in the generic exception,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Inner exception, and then we're going here and we're saying just the exact same message that we have on the other one. Locked post error occurred. Please try again later. That's us basically saying this is not going to work this time. Something is happening. Locked post exception. Locked post error occurred. Please try again later. And then the second one here is that I'm going to pass in the inner exception. Okay, so let's do that. Here we go. All right. And then I'm going to go down here and do the same thing. So it's locked post exception, HTTP response locked exception. This one takes care of that. Let's see if I can make this a little bit prettier. Sure. And then I can go here and say, the last one here, Ricardo, is to basically go and say expected post dependency,
Validation.
dependency. Oh my God. Dependency validation exception, right? New post dependency validation exception. And here's your locked post exception, like this. And then let's fake that injury. Let's make this happen.
Yep.
So here's my mock setup broker dot delete post by ID. It is any good. We don't care. And then I'm gonna go here and say throws async, and that's your HTTP
Needs to be.
response locked exception, right? I probably need a dummy some post ID, right? So go with that no go it. So that's my guy here. And then I can go down here and basically pretty much the same thing as the rest of those. So value task,
Yeah.
post, remove post by ID task. This dot service dot remove post by ID, some post ID, await, assert, await, assert, throws async, post, dependency validation exception. Here we go. And then in here, I'm gonna go and say remove post by ID task as task. Here we go, like this. And then let's verify that our mocks have been called. So this is my broker. Oops, my broker. Delete post by ID. It is any good, like this. And then let's go and verify this guy has been called times once. So that's one. And then the other one is logging broker verify. Broker, broker dot log error. It's not critical, I don't think. What do you think? It is same
No, it's
except
not.
because it's not across all, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing here is that it doesn't happen all the time. Okay, now let's just go here and say here's my mock, verify no other calls, and then here is my login broker, verify no other calls. Done. So that's a test. Right, should throw dependency validation exception on remove if post is locked and log it async. And we're communicating that by saying, hey, try again later. So if you're trying to delete a post actually in the real world, in real life, and you're clicking delete and the post is locked, I'm gonna need to find a way to kind of fake that exception in the real world. But when that exception happens, this is basically what's gonna happen. It's gonna just basically go and say, hey, try again later. Something's wrong, right? So this is why we try to make sure the message doesn't have exception or any technical language in it whatsoever. We basically locked post error occurred. Please try again later, right? So when it says to the user it's locked, we might even change that language a little bit and say, the resource is busy. Please try again later or something like that. So we'll
Yeah.
see how that one goes. Anyway, let's go down here. Let's go here, do this, and fail. Here we go. All right. You are it, my friend.
All right.
Okay.
Let me just this.
All right.
All right. Be running all my tests right now.
Okay. Do you want to share your screen first?
Yet. Go. Taarafo.
Mm-hmm. Here you are. Perfect.
All right. All right. Yeah, it's going a little faster this time.
All right. Perfect. We're going.
Yep. Going places.
We're going places.
Yep. This is the exact error that I want. I would need. All right. So.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I guess I could put it here. So it would be catch HTTP locked exception. HTTP locked exception. For that,
Okay.
believe what was the name of it again? I think it was locked, right? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
locked. Locked
Locked
post
post exception.
exception. Yep. Locked post exception. Pass in HTTP locked exception.
Uh,
And then just throw
all right.
the one for logging error.
Yeah, so
So,
it's dependency validation exception still, right?
oh right, sorry. Yeah,
Yep.
you're right. Yep. All right. I believe that's about it.
All
Wow.
right. Let's do it. Sweet and simple.
Just run everything here. Let's just go back here. Yep,
All right.
that it.
Let's submit that as a pass. There we go. All right. So what's the next step, Ricardo? We need to write a test that looks a lot similar to the one that we just made, except this time we're going to handle the generic because there are no other exceptions that we need to handle at this point except for HTTP response exception. HTTP response exception. That's the generic of the HTTP request, the equivalent of a service exception,
Yeah.
but on the external resource side. So let's do that. Go ahead and write a test that it will be something very similar to this one, except that instead of dependency validation exception, it will be something like dependency exception, and then we can go from there. Go ahead.
All right. So we public basic test. Let me just remove this. Should throw post. It will be post service exception in this case, right? Yeah. Post
No,
service.
nope, nope. It's post dependency exception because the HTTP response exception still coming from the API, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
So okay, just following along here. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Right. So it's be like some post ID,
Uh-huh.
and then I would be making a new GUID and see trying to remember all of this. Okay, right. This is a message. So let's just create some message
Uh-huh.
and create random uh, get random message. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And then HTTP
Uh-huh.
response message. Actually, should it be var here? Or HTTP response message new HTTP response message.
Uh-huh.
And then I would have to create, yeah, the localized exception,
That's
which
right.
would be,
Well, let's start with the HTTP response exception first, the generic one. So let's type here
uh,
HTTP response exception. That would be the one that's happening for everybody. Uh-huh.
response exception, right? Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I guess I need to do the HTTP response message
Right.
and
And some message.
some message and tap this.
That's correct.
All right. Okay. So in this case,
Mm.
we don't have this localized exception yet
That's no, we
for
do. I think we do because remember how we did the critical exception, the critical. So you will find out that the failed dependency exception in there.
oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Oh
failed.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember. Yep.
All right.
Yeah. Fail dependency exception. Failed dependency.
Uh-huh.
Yep. HTTP response exception. And then fake the injury, right? So it'll be
Yep.
this API broker
Oh
setup.
well. Oh well. Before that, we need to create our expected
Oh,
expected
yeah,
post
you're right.
dependency exception.
You're right. You're right. So it'll be var expected
Hmm.
Affected post dependency uh, exception. Uh, Actually, it's post dependency exception that takes in the fail
Uh-huh.
dependency exception. Actually, I think this should be called fail post dependency exception.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. And now I start to do the fake the injury.
That's right. Set up. Yep. Yep.
So
Look
we
at you getting faster and faster. That's pretty cool.
yeah.
Yep. Yep. You're getting
Yeah,
there.
getting there.
Yep.
Broker. So it'll be delete post by async.
And it is any good. We don't really care.
Any good? No, actually, this would have to throw the
It will throw the HTTP response exception. Yep.
Yep. Nope. HTTP response
Response exception.
exception.
Perfect. Perfect.
And all right. And now we create the value task.
Hmm.
Uh. Oh wow. Oh yeah. Post. Of course.
Hmm.
Remove post by ID task. Uh, yeah. This post service remove by ID task and some post ID.
That's right.
All right. And then
Break him into given when then so we know where you're at in the code.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Also in your test, so you created the template.
Oh yeah. You know it.
Okay, and
Okay.
in the test name itself, make sure you postpone it with async at the very end. So should throw post dependency exception, right? If on
Oh
remove,
yeah.
on remove. No, no, no.
On
Type first dependency, take away the F on remove,
should
on remove.
throw
Mm-hmm.
on
Mm-hmm.
remove.
On remove. Yep. That's the location where the
Oh.
so on remove.
Oh.
If
If
dependency error occurs and log it async.
yeah.
Async. There you go. So that's good. Now, why else is it mad at you? Public async. Oh, because you haven't done the awaiting yet. Yeah, keep going. You're doing just fine. Go ahead. Hmm.
All right. I believe this is the part where I do the.
Hmm.
Yep. This would be
The
the
value
away.
task.
Yep.
Nope. Nope. That value task piece goes under when, right? The remove post by ID task, right?
Right. 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 Let me just fix this a bit.
Yep.
Wait. Assert. Throws async.
Hmm.
Uh.
Just the type, and that should go under then because now we're verifying, right? Mm.
Yeah. Wait. Sorry. It's just.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Post dependency
Exception. Uh-huh.
exception, and then passing the remove post by ID as task.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you want a fat arrow, like you want to no, you want to you want to basically, put a lambda function in there. So open close
Right.
parentheses, fat arrow, and then yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Little details. Little details. Yeah.
Yep,
But
yep, 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 yep. And then move that whole statement under then because you're in the verify state now, right?
Right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, then insert. Right.
Right. Now the rest is very, very straightforward. Go ahead.
Okay, so it'll be verify broker dot repos. And it is any
Uh-huh.
go with
Mhm.
times once this logging broker verify broker dot log error,
Mm.
right? Yeah, log error. Uh, it is nope. It is same exception as the expected post dependency exception, right?
Yep. Yep.
And then see, I don't get lost here.
Times once.
Yep.
So times once always is the last one before the closing parenthesis. So you might have a couple extra there that you don't need.
I do. Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's
So
probably here.
yep. So take one and add one. No, you want to add two in here and just remove the one next to the semicolon.
Okay.
That should take care of it. And then break that expected posted dependency exception to the next line. There you go.
Which means I have to do the same for this one. Yep.
Wait. That's a little too much. Do a shift tap on the expected and a shift tap on times, and that should be it.
Ah, yeah.
All right. Cool. Let's go.
Verify no other call.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Verify no other calls.
Yep.
Verify no other calls. Oh, right. There you go. Let me just remove this. Should be good. All right.
All right. Okay. Let's run it. Let's see.
Well, this is fun. Let me just see.
Okay. We have a failing test. Perfect. All right.
Yep.
Ship it over. All right. Perfect. Ship it over. Now we're pairing. Now we're doing ping pong, my friend. Yep.
It's your serve.
All right. My side. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's take this to my side here and let's go to, let's pull your stuff first real quick. All right. And let's see here if I can, I think I might be seeing your test right now. Let's go down here. Let's run this. Do you see that flickering at the top? I don't know what StreamYard is doing with that flickering. It's very interesting, but there we are. All right, so it should throw post dependency exception on remove if dependency error occurs, and you're basically handling the HTTP response. I think there's a couple of extra tabs in here. Yeah, there you go. Okay, perfect. Let's go up in here, remove post by ID, and let's go down here and let's say try catch, and I just want a one of these. And I'm going to put that guy right down here, and we're going to be handling HTTP response exception. HTTP response exception. So that's my guy, which will be logging failed post dependency exception. That's the localized version. And now, my friend, we need to log in, just create and log dependency exception right here. So I'm going to go up in here and say, let's see. I need one of these. That's log dependency exception right here. Let's take the critical part out of it. And let's say log error. So that's this guy. And now I'm gonna try to run this test. That should take care of it, I think. Here we go. Boom, pass. Okay. And now I'm gonna give you a serve, and that will wrap up our task for today. So this guy here is a pass, like this. And then I'm gonna give you one last one, for you. So I'm just gonna go into the post exception, and I wanna say class failed post service exception. And then this guy takes in from exception. And then I'm gonna go in and do a CTOR. And then let's go up in here and say this guy takes a generic exception. So that's my inner exception, like this. And underneath this guy, here's my base, and then message. Post service error occurred. Contact support. Right, and here's my inner exception. Cool. And then I'm just gonna fix this one here real quick like this. So that's this guy. And I think we do we have post service? No, we don't have post service exception. Okay, so let's go here. Post service exception. And this guy also inherits from exception like this. Here's a CTOR. Let's take in exception as inner exception. Then I'm gonna go here and say, this is my message. Post service error occurred. Contact support. And then in here, I'm gonna pass in that inner exception right here, like this. Here we go. So let me look at the failed service. No, this here is failed post service error occurred. Contact. Okay, perfect. So this is this guy, and then this is the post service exception right here. Now I can go down here and say, well, that's the easiest thing in the world. I can go into the exceptions area here, and I can go and say, well, I'm not really handling any of that stuff. I'm just going here and saying public async task should throw service exception on remove if service error occurs and log it async like this. Here's my given, my when, my then, and then I'm gonna create an exception. So this is service exception equal new exception. Here we go. And then I want failed post service exception, new failed post service exception. And then this guy will take this exception as an inner. So that's cool. Let's take that guy down by one. Here we go. And then let's go down here and say, I want expected post service exception, new post service exception that takes failed exception. That's right. Let's fake an injury in here, and let's go and set up this, and let's go and say broker dot, delete post by ID. It is any good, don't care. And that guy is gonna throw asynchronously a service exception. There we go. And then also we want to go here and say some post ID GUID.no GUID. Cool. And then the rest of this is really good and dandy. Value task, post, remove post by ID task. And this guy is this dot service, remove post by ID task, some post ID that we don't really care about. And then the rest of this is really throws async, post service exception, take in the fat arrow, remove post by ID task as task. Here we go. And then this here is the API mock, verify that broker has been called. Is any GUID. Here we go. Times once. And then in here, I want to go and say the logging broker mock, verify broker, broker.log error. It is Nope, it is. Yep. It is same exception as, and then expected post exception. This is times once. And then the last thing here is just to call the API and say verify no other calls, logging, verify no other calls. Okay, I have a failing test for you, my friend. So let's see here. Let's run this real quick. Here we go. Here we go. And failing. Is it failing for the good reasons? Let's see here. System exception. That's right. Here we go. That's it. That one piece would wrap up our PR, my friend. Go for it.
Alrighty.
Yes, sir. You're right. It's your screen now.
Alright.
Oop, I
Oh,
lost your screen. Try again.
my
So
bad.
so when you share it, I already have it. Even though it's not displayed, I'll just shuffle it. I'll play the producer here for a
Ah,
little
okay.
bit.
I see.
Go ahead. Yep, there you
Okay.
are. All right.
Alright. Just get latest and greatest.
Yep.
Let's run all the tests again. Alright.
Okay.
It's running now.
All right. Here we go. Yep,
Yep.
that's the one.
Which is right next to it.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Alright. Let's just go. Try catch. Okay. So this could be, this one is going to be a generic exception.
Mm-hmm.
Just call it exception.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Mm-hmm.
would be post.
Nope.
So,
Failed post service exception. The inner localized exceptions always start with the problem before the entity. The categorization starts with the entity before the problem.
I see. Okay. Failed post service exception.
Yep.
Failed post service exception. Pass in the exception. And now we just throw create and log.
Mm-hmm.
What, create dependency validation. This time I believe we gotta have to create one for this particular
Yes.
one,
Yeah.
right? Yep.
You don't have that one yet. You're gonna have to write that one by hand. That's right.
All right. So it's a create and log post service exception.
Yep.
And then I pass in the fail post service exception. We're just gonna create one. Okay, and exception.
Mm-hmm.
No, this would actually get.
No, no, that would be exception. You're right. All of them actually would take exception as inner because you're localizing, right?
Right, right. All right. Var post
Mm-hmm.
service. This time will be, yeah, post service
Yep.
exception. New post service exception.
Mm-hmm.
Post exception. This dot logging broker log error. Post service exception, and then return post service exception.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. There we go. Yep, that should be good.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, let's do it. Make sure you're returning, even though it'll pass, make sure you're returning exactly that post service exception specifically. So it doesn't propagate as anything else other than that.
Okay.
And I actually expect that test to fail. Just wait. Let's see. No? Okay, then just make sure that you're returning post service exception just for clarity. That's all.
I mean, it already is, right? Or
No, no, no. Look at the private exception. See how we always return that specific category of exceptions. Line 85 after private.
okay.
So you just need to say post service exception in there. That's
Oh,
all.
right, right. The category.
Yep.
Category. Yep.
Yep. And the other thing here is that you want to change failed post service exception with just exception. The same line.
Let's rename this.
Okay, and then move that whole method all the way at the bottom because the chronological order of definition based on usage there is really also important. Yep, that should be it. Perfect. Run the test one more time, make sure things are running. And I think the service is registered, but it doesn't hurt. I think I registered the service when I was doing a test on this, but it doesn't hurt to double check. Yep, this one is done. So you can kick this one off as test pass. And that's really the last test in these. Now, what do you think is going to be the next step? What are we going to do tomorrow for this one? Hmm.
uh oh, it's pass. What's wrong with
Yeah,
you?
pass. Yep. Should that back right back to me? Hmm. Yep. I'll take it from here. And then on my side, I will register the service. So this is we're really going back and forth. So what do you think is the next step? What should we do next after that?
We would have to go to the well, we already tested the foundation service, so I'm guessing we're going now to the actual view service.
That's view service. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so all of these are passing. We have about 8 tests in there. And then in startup.cs, I'm gonna go here and say, this is the logging broker, I think services. Since this is the very first service that we actually do, let's go here and say I post service. This is the post service, and then it translates to post service like this. And then I'll let you do a code drop for breaking the brokers into their own methods and the services into their own methods. That should take care of that. So I'm just going to go here and say config like this, register post service. Now, my friend, we can kick this off and create a PR. Let's go into GitHub land real quick. Here we go. And let me share my screen. Here we go. This will bump up your pairing percentage. Your pairing percentage will go up a little
Yeah.
bit. Did you see the new, it'll generate description for you?
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, this is just the beginning. It's gonna actually pick up every project you're working on and write a documentation for it. But I'm taking my sweet time with this one because I wanna make sure it's right. So if people actually go and actually download this, it'll work for them and it'll be just fine. Okay, so here we go. So this is foundations, right? And this is remove post by ID, right? Um, so here we go. So on the files change, we have about 20 files, right? Remember, if you do dot like this, it will open up an editor for you. And
Oh
that editor
yeah.
will allow you to look through all the files that have been changed. It's an amazing feature.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, huge thanks to people that went into the documentation for this project. I don't know if you noticed this, but I think someone I think his name is also I don't wanna give a wrong impression here. I think update README file. Yeah, that was done by Mr. Christo Du Toy. I don't know, Christo. So Christo, thank you so much. You know what he did? He picked up every video that you and I, recorded, and he added in here as a documentation. Just like
Oh
most of these projects. Yeah, there's amazing people out there that do some amazing work to kind of keep things up to date. This is an alive, active project where people are actually actively contributing. And there's already a bunch of open source, sorry, a bunch of open contribution here. I'm gonna be pairing with this guy tomorrow, and we're gonna be finishing things together. But then again, let me just look real quick through our code here, make sure that nothing looks funny looking. So I have our system directives at the top. It always helps you kind of double check, take another look, see what's going on. It doesn't hurt, right? By the way,
Yeah.
for the people that ask me about the extra line at the bottom here, I'm neutral, So if you want to leave an extra line, I'm okay. If you want to, keep it up to this guy, also I'm okay. Either way is okay. What's not okay is that you leave empty lines between the lines unnecessarily or between methods if they are single liners. Okay, so let's look at this. This is good. The fillers are all the way at the bottom. Love it. This one here is new. This is me creating a random dictionary to actually validate that the transcendence is happening. This is very new.
Yeah.
And then everything else should be just perfecto, my friendo. I think we did really good. So this is look how we're handling all the possible communications. But people say, "Oh, I can integrate with an API. It's so easy." But it's easy when in a fast pass, right? But when you're actually accounting for all the kind of issues that may come out of that, that's when your software craftsmanship come in, and then you can see the story here, the pair programming story, step by step, like that. That tells you the story of how this came to be. All right, I'll mark this as done. I think it's in good state. And then tomorrow, you and I, my friend, will start doing the view services. All right. So, do you have any questions for me? Anything at all before we wrap?
No, I think we're pretty good for today.
Aw- Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Ricardo, for joining me on this journey. Let's start a new PR tomorrow. And thank you all for watching. What did you say? This thing in the back? What are they called? These animals? They're very
Uh,
loud. What did you say?
they're called cookies.
Cookies. Cookies.
Cookies. Yeah.
Cookies. Okay. Like cookies? Is that what you're saying?
That is what they're saying. Yeah, cookie,
How,
cookie.
how do you spell it?
Q,
Cocie? Uh,
COQUI.
Coquoi?
COQUI.
What is that? Let's see. Animal
With a C. With a C.
with a C. Okay. These
That's it.
ones. The
Yeah.
frogs.
Yeah. That's a cookie.
Frogs from Puerto Rico. Okay, sounds
Yeah.
good, man. Sounds good. Sounds good, man. All right. I'll thank you so much, Ricardo, and thank you all for watching us, and we'll see you in another session. Take care.
Bye.